Hello there, fellow coin enthusiasts and collectors. Welcome back to the channel World Rare Coins, where we dive deep into the world of rare and valuable coins that could be worth a small fortune. From hidden gems that could be worth a fortune to little-known coins with a rich history, we'll explore it all. And if you're new to our channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on any of our exciting discoveries. And now grab your magnifying glasses and let's start our today's video. On top one today, we're diving deep into the history and details of the United States quarter dollar from 1970. Now, you may be thinking, a quarter from 1970? How special could it be? Well, buckle up, because this coin has a lot more going on than meets the eye. Stick around until the end to find out just how much this quarter could be worth today. Let's start by taking a step back in time to 1970. It was a year of great change and transformation around the world. The United States was in the middle of the Vietnam War, and the country was experiencing significant social and political shifts. The Apollo 13 mission was launched, bringing the U.S. to the edge of space exploration once again, and the music world was alive with the sounds of iconic bands like the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. The 1970s were a defining decade, and the year 1970 marked a significant moment in American history. During this time, the U.S. Mint was busy producing coins for daily circulation, including the quarter dollar. But what makes the 1970 quarter stand out from other quarters of the same era? It has to do with both its design and the context of its production. Let's break it down. First, let's talk about the design of the 1970 quarter dollar. On the obverse, or front, side of the coin, you'll find the image of George Washington, the first president of the United States. Washington's portrait has been featured on the quarter since 1932, when it replaced the Standing Liberty design. Washington was chosen because of his monumental role in American history, and his image on the quarter continues to be a symbol of strength, leadership, and patriotism. The reverse side of the 1970 quarter features a classic design that remains iconic to this day. A bald eagle perched on a branch, facing forward, with its wings outstretched. This representation of the eagle has been synonymous with American pride and power for centuries. The eagle is a symbol of freedom, courage, and the unwavering spirit of the American people. Below the eagle, you'll see the inscriptions United States of America, E pluribus unum, and quarter dollar, signifying the coin's denomination and national identity. Now, let's talk about the historical significance of the 1970 quarter. In 1970, the United States Mint was continuing its efforts to modernize the production of coins. The country was facing economic challenges, with inflation rates rising and the value of the dollar fluctuating. However, the Mint was still focused on producing coins that would circulate for years to come, with each coin carrying its own unique story. At the time, these quarters were being struck in large quantities at the Philadelphia and Denver mints. What makes the 1970 quarter interesting, though, is not just its design or the context in which it was produced, but the rarity of certain versions of this coin. You see, while millions of 1970 quarters were minted, there are certain characteristics that can make a specific coin much more valuable than its face value of 25 cents. The condition of the coin, as well as any minting errors, plays a huge role in determining its value among collectors. For example, most 1970 quarters that have been in circulation for decades will show signs of wear and tear, scratches, discoloration, and faded details. While these coins are still worth their face value, they don't hold the same appeal for collectors. On the other hand, coins that have been carefully preserved, uncirculated, and kept in pristine condition are much more desirable. These coins are harder to come by and are valued at a premium price. But wait, it gets even more interesting. Some 1970 quarters contain minting errors, which can make them incredibly valuable. Minting errors happen when something goes wrong during the production process, such as a misaligned die, double strikes, or over-polishing of the dies. These errors can cause the design to be printed incorrectly, making the coin unique and much rarer than the standard issue. For collectors, error coins are like a gold mine, and finding one can be the discovery of a lifetime. For example, a common minting error for the 1970 quarter is the double die error. This occurs when a coin is struck twice by the die, causing the design to appear as though it's been printed twice, offset slightly. This error can be noticeable in certain details, such as Washington's eye or the text around the eagle. If you find a 1970 quarter with a double die error, hold on to it. It could be worth much more than a standard coin, and in some cases, these error coins can sell for thousands of dollars. Another potential error that collectors look for is an off-center strike. This happens when the coin is not properly aligned with the die during the minting process, resulting in a design that appears off-center. Off-center coins are rare and highly sought after, especially if the misalignment is substantial. A well-struck off-center 1970 quarter could fetch a significant price at auction. If you're looking to spot a 1970 quarter with these kinds of errors, the first thing you'll want to do is carefully inspect the coin. Hold it under good lighting and look closely at the design. If you notice any anomalies, such as doubling or misalignment, you may have a valuable error coin on your hands. But even if the coin is free from minting errors, if it's in excellent condition, it could still be worth a pretty penny. As we move into the world of coin collecting, the 1970 quarter becomes an interesting piece to track. It's relatively easy to find a standard 1970 quarter, but finding one in exceptional condition or with a rare minting error is much more difficult. That's why collectors are willing to pay premium prices for these coins, and why they continue to be a popular target for numismatists. So, what is the current value of the 1970 quarter? Well, depending on the condition and rarity, it can be worth much more than the 25 cents it was originally minted for. A typical circulated 1970 quarter might only be worth around $1 or $2 to collectors, especially if it's been worn down through years of use. However, if you have an uncirculated 1970 quarter in excellent condition, you could be looking at a value of several $100s. But hold on to your hats, because here comes the big reveal. If you happen to have a 1970 quarter that is in uncirculated condition or, even better, contains a rare minting error, it could be worth as much as $80,000. Yes, you heard that right, $80,000 for a single coin. This is a prime example of how coins that may seem ordinary can turn out to be extraordinary treasures when they are carefully preserved, or when they contain rare characteristics. So, if you've got a stash of quarters from 1970 lying around, now is the time to take a closer look. Check the condition, inspect the details, and see if you might have a rare, valuable find on your hands. If you're lucky enough to come across a 1970 quarter in exceptional condition or with a unique error, you could be holding a coin that is worth far more than you ever expected. On top 2, we're diving into the fascinating world of American coins, focusing on a true gem from the early 1970s, the United States quarter dollar from 1972. At first glance, this might seem like just another coin from the 70s, but trust me when I say there's more to this quarter than meets the eye. As we take a closer look, we'll explore the rich historical context, unique design features, and the factors that make this coin especially valuable to collectors. And of course, by the end of this video, we'll reveal just how much a well-preserved 1972 quarter could be worth today. Let's first step back to the early 1970s. This was a time of great change and upheaval across the United States. The Vietnam War was still raging, and political tension was palpable throughout the country. It was also a time of significant social and cultural change. The civil rights movement was still gaining momentum, and America was beginning to shift into a new era of innovation and technological advancements. Meanwhile, in the world of currency, the U.S. Mint was hard at work producing the coins that would circulate during this transformative period. The 1972 quarter, though not often thought of as particularly rare, has its own unique place in this era. It is part of the Washington Quarter series, which was first introduced in 1932. As many of you may know, this design features a portrait of George Washington, the first president of the United States, on the obverse front of the coin. This portrait was designed by sculptor John Flanagan, and it's become one of the most iconic representations of Washington in the history of U.S. coinage. What's interesting about the 1972 quarter, though, is not just the image of Washington that has graced the coin since 1932, but the way the quarter was struck that year, as well as the conditions surrounding its production. In 1972, the U.S. Mint was busy at work producing a variety of coins, and the quarter was no exception. However, a few key factors contributed to making the 1972 quarter something a little more special. The year 1972 saw a significant number of quarters minted, with the majority being struck in Philadelphia and Denver. However, as you may know, there are a few characteristics that can make certain coins from this year stand out among the millions of others produced. The primary factor that collectors look for is the condition of the coin and whether or not it has any unique characteristics, such as minting errors or design variations. To understand why the 1972 quarter has such a strong appeal to collectors, let's first take a closer look at its design. As I mentioned earlier, the obverse of the quarter features a portrait of George Washington, surrounded by the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." These words, along with the date 1972 at the bottom of the coin, form the familiar design that has been a staple of U.S. quarters for decades. On the reverse side, the design features an eagle, a symbol of freedom and power, perched on a branch with its wings spread. The eagle is clutching arrows in one talon and an olive branch in the other, symbolizing the balance between peace and strength. Around the eagle, the coin displays the inscriptions United States of America, e pluribus unum, which translates to out of many, one, and quarter dollar, indicating the denomination of the coin. One thing that is often overlooked about the 1972 quarter is the quality of the strike. In 1972, a variety of different dies were used to strike the coins, and this resulted in some quarters having subtle variations in the clarity and detail of the design. While the design itself remained consistent, some of the coins produced that year were struck with more precision, resulting in coins that have higher quality details and sharper features. These coins, often referred to as high-grade coins, are the ones that collectors are particularly eager to get their hands on. Beyond the basic design and quality of the strike, however, there's another key factor that can make a 1972 quarter more valuable: the presence of minting errors. As with any coin, minting errors can occur during the production process, and these errors can significantly increase the value of a coin. In the case of the 1972 quarter, there are a few specific types of errors that collectors actively seek out. One such error is the double die variety, which occurs when a coin is struck multiple times, resulting in a double design on the coin. This can cause the letters and numbers on the coin to appear slightly offset or duplicated, creating a noticeable doubling effect. Double die coins are highly sought after by collectors, as they are relatively rare and often fetch a premium price. Another common error for the 1972 quarter is the off-center strike, which occurs when the coin is not properly aligned with the die during the minting process. This can cause the design to be struck off-center, resulting in a coin with an unusual appearance. Off-center coins are also prized by collectors because of their rarity and unique look. In addition to these minting errors, collectors also seek out coins that have been well preserved in pristine condition. A quarter that has been carefully stored, away from the wear and tear of daily circulation, can be much more valuable than one that has been heavily used. Coins that are in uncirculated condition, meaning they have never been used in commerce, can command a much higher price due to their scarcity. So, you may be wondering, how much could a 1972 quarter be worth? The value of a 1972 quarter can vary greatly depending on its condition, any minting errors, and its rarity. A typical 1972 quarter in average circulated condition might be worth only slightly more than its face value of 25 cents, maybe a dollar or two. However, if you happen to have an uncirculated 1972 quarter in pristine condition, or better yet, one with a minting error like a double die or off-center strike, you could be looking at a value of several $1,000s. But here's the real kicker. If you're lucky enough to own one of these exceptional 1972 quarters, it could be worth an astounding $76,000. That's right, $76,000 for a single coin, depending on its quality and rarity. For collectors, finding such a coin can be the ultimate treasure, and the value of these rare pieces only continues to grow as time goes on. So, if you've been collecting quarters, or if you happen to stumble across a 1972 quarter in your pocket change, now is the time to take a closer look. You may just be holding on to a rare and valuable piece of American history, one that could bring you a hefty payday if you're lucky enough to find a high-grade or error variety. On Top 3, we're diving into the world of U.S. coinage and focusing on a quarter that's a true gem in the eyes of collectors, the 1974 United States quarter. While this coin might look like a standard quarter to the untrained eye, there's so much more to this piece of history than meets the surface. From its historical context to its unique design features and the intriguing potential for valuable variants, the 1974 quarter is one coin that every serious collector should know about. Stick around as we explore everything there is to know about this remarkable coin and uncover its current value at the end of the video. Let's first set the stage with a little history lesson. The 1974 quarter was struck during a period of economic and political change in the United States. The early 1970s were marked by a variety of challenges. On the domestic front, the country was grappling with the aftermath of the Vietnam War, the Watergate scandal was unfolding, and the economic instability of the 1973 oil crisis was starting to take its toll. The country was entering a new era of fiscal strain and political turmoil. However, through all of this, the U.S. Mint continued its mission of producing coinage for circulation, including the quarter, which was in high demand across the country. The 1974 quarter was part of the Washington Quarter Series, which was first introduced in 1932 to honor the first president of the United States, George Washington. This series was one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history, and the design featured on the 1974 quarter remained consistent with previous years. The obverse of the quarter featured an iconic bust of George Washington, sculpted by John Flanagan, a design that was originally adopted in 1932 to commemorate Washington's 200th birthday. The reverse, on the other hand, depicted an eagle holding an olive branch and arrows, symbolizing peace and strength. For many years, the Washington quarter was an everyday coin used in all sorts of transactions across the nation. However, it wasn't just the coin's imagery that made it notable. It was also the minting process and the conditions surrounding the production of the 1974 quarters that make them so fascinating today. By the time the 1974 quarter was produced, the U.S. Mint was already dealing with a massive demand for coinage, and the quality control of the coins varied depending on which mint produced them. Coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint were generally considered to be of higher quality due to the careful procedures in place. However, the Denver Mint also contributed a significant number of 1,974 quarters to circulation. The production process was complex, and factors such as die wear, minting pressure, and the condition of the dies all played a role in how each coin turned out. So, if you happen to come across a particularly well-struck quarter from 1974, it could hold some serious collector value. Before we jump into the specifics of what makes the 1974 quarter valuable, let's take a moment to examine its design. The obverse, featuring George Washington, remains unchanged from the previous years, as the U.S. Mint had established this design as a permanent feature for the quarter. Surrounding Washington's bust is the inscription Liberty, along with the date 1974 and the words In God We Trust, which were added to coins during the 19th century. The quality of Washington's likeness and the sharpness of the inscriptions can often tell you a lot about the coin's condition and whether it might be worth more than face value. The reverse of the 1974 quarter is where the design truly captures the imagination. The eagle, perched on an olive branch and grasping arrows, is a powerful symbol of America's strength and resolve. The eagle's wings are spread wide, and its piercing gaze reflects the nation's resilience. Surrounding the eagle are the words United States of America and E pluribus unum, which translates to out of many one. These inscriptions were standard on all Washington quarters, and their clear visibility and sharpness are key indicators of the coin's overall quality. So, what makes the 1974 quarter so appealing to collectors? The main factor that drives its value is rarity, particularly in higher quality conditions. The majority of 1974 quarters were released into circulation and used for everyday purchases, which means they've likely seen a fair amount of wear and tear over the years. As a result, finding a 1974 quarter in pristine condition is rare, and that rarity drives its appeal to collectors. Additionally, there are certain varieties of the 1974 quarter that have captured the attention of collectors. One notable example is the 1974 double die variety. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned or shifted, resulting in the doubling of some of the coin's features, especially in the inscriptions or the design elements. A double die error on a 1974 quarter can make it stand out from the rest of the coins produced that year, and collectors are willing to pay a premium for these unique variations. Another important factor to consider is the overall condition of the coin. As with any collectible coin, the better the condition, the higher the value. Coins that have been kept in near-perfect, uncirculated condition are far more valuable than those that have been heavily circulated. If you happen to have a 1974 quarter that looks as if it just came out of the mint, it's worth a closer look, as it could be worth far more than its face value. But the real question that most collectors are dying to know is, How much is a 1974 quarter worth? Well, if you happen to come across a 1974 quarter in pristine, uncirculated condition, or if you've got one with a rare minting error, you could be in for a very pleasant surprise. The value of a 1974 quarter can vary greatly depending on its condition, but it's not uncommon to see these coins valued anywhere from a few dollars for a well-worn, circulated example to tens of thousands of dollars for high-grade, error-stricken specimens. The most impressive value for a 1974 quarter, particularly one in uncirculated condition or with a minting error, can easily reach $73,000. Yes, you heard that right, $73,000 for a single quarter. Of course, the value depends heavily on factors like the quality of the strike, the presence of any errors, and the rarity of the specific coin in question. So, if you have any 1974 quarters in your collection, or even if you just happen to find one in your spare change, be sure to check the condition and look for any potential minting errors. You never know, you might have a rare and valuable piece of American history in your hands. The 1974 quarter may have seemed like just another coin at the time, but today, it's a treasure that could be worth an incredible amount. On Top 4, we're diving into the fascinating history of one of the most interesting coins in U.S. history, the 1979 quarter dollar. While quarters are often considered everyday change, the 1979 quarter has a rich history, a timeless design, and some surprisingly rare and valuable variants. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just getting into coin hunting, the 1979 quarter is a piece of American history that could be worth much more than you think. Let's set the stage for this coin's journey. The year 1979 was an eventful one for the United States. In the world of politics, the country had just witnessed the end of the tumultuous 1970s, with a new decade bringing fresh challenges and triumphs. The U.S. was moving into the later years of the Cold War, and on the home front, people were dealing with the consequences of an economic recession brought on by the 1973 oil crisis. Despite the global turbulence, the U.S. Mint continued to work on producing the everyday coins that fueled the economy, including the quarter dollar. The 1979 quarter, like all quarters before it, was part of the Washington Quarter Series, which had been in circulation since 1932. This series, designed by John Flanagan, was introduced to commemorate George Washington's 200th birthday and has remained one of the most iconic coin designs in American history. The 1979 quarter continued this tradition, showcasing the timeless image of the first president of the United States on the obverse. Let's take a closer look at the design of the 1979 quarter. On the obverse, we see a profile of George Washington, with the word Liberty inscribed above his image. Alongside this, the coin bears the date 1979 and the motto "In God We Trust," which has been a staple on U.S. coinage since the 19th century. Washington's profile is highly detailed, and the sharpness of the design is a hallmark of the coin's quality. On the reverse of the 1979 quarter, we find the familiar eagle design. The eagle is perched on an olive branch, symbolizing peace, and holds arrows in the other talon, representing strength and the country's readiness to defend itself. Surrounding the eagle are the inscriptions United States of America and E pluribus unum, a phrase that translates to out of many, one, symbolizing the unity of the nation. While the design on the 1979 quarter remained largely unchanged from previous years, there are several factors that make this coin stand out. One of the most important aspects to consider is the minting process itself. In 1979, the U.S. Mint was operating under high pressure to meet the demands of an expanding economy. With billions of coins being struck each year, maintaining quality control was a challenge, which led to some interesting quirks in the minting process. Not all 1979 quarters were created equal, and certain varieties of the coin can command impressive prices on the collector's market today. One of the more intriguing aspects of the 1979 quarter is the presence of certain minting errors, which have become highly sought after by collectors. These errors can range from small design inconsistencies to more significant issues, such as doubling of inscriptions or misalignment of the dies. In fact, one of the most famous errors on the 1979 quarter is the double die variety, where certain elements of the design appear twice due to a misalignment of the die during the minting process. This type of error is especially valuable because it's a rare occurrence that adds a unique element to the coin, making it stand out among other 1979 quarters. Additionally, The 1979 quarter was produced in multiple locations. While the Philadelphia Mint was responsible for a significant portion of production, the Denver and San Francisco mints also struck 1979 quarters. Each minting location has its own distinct characteristics, and collectors may seek out specific mint marks, or in the case of certain proofs, no mint marks at all. The Denver Mint typically produced quarters with the D mint mark, while the San Francisco Mint produced proof coins, which have a highly polished finish and are not intended for general circulation. Let's pause for a moment to talk about the value of the 1979 quarter. While most 1979 quarters are worth only face value, 25 cents, there are certain factors that can dramatically increase their worth. Condition is the first and most obvious element that affects the value. Like most collectible coins, a 1979 quarter that is in pristine, uncirculated condition will be worth far more than one that has been heavily worn. Coins that have been preserved in high-quality conditions can fetch hundreds, even thousands of dollars on the market. As we've mentioned, minting errors and rare varieties are a major factor in determining a coin's value. If you're fortunate enough to come across a 1979 quarter with a double die or other significant errors, you could be holding a rare treasure that might be worth far more than its face value. Error coins are particularly valuable because they are unique, and collectors are often willing to pay a premium for the rarity and historical significance they represent. But just how much can a 1979 quarter be worth? Well, the answer can vary greatly depending on the coin's condition and the presence of any minting errors or unique features. However, for a well-preserved, uncirculated 1979 quarter, the value can easily reach up to $70,000. Yes, you read that correctly, $70,000 for a single quarter. It's truly remarkable how a coin that once spent years circulating in everyday transactions can now be considered a prized collector's item, fetching such a high price in today's market. Now, it's important to note that not every 1979 quarter will be worth this much. For most coins, the value is influenced by factors such as the quality of the strike, the presence of any minting errors, and the coin's overall condition. A well-preserved coin in uncirculated or proof condition, especially one with an error, can command the highest prices, while circulated coins will naturally be valued much lower. But still, the potential for discovery is what makes coin collecting so exciting and why you should always keep an eye out for those hidden treasures. In conclusion, the 1979 quarter may seem like just another coin at first glance, but its rich history, iconic design, and potential for rarity make it a must-have for serious coin collectors. Whether you're just starting out or have been collecting for years, it's always worth taking a second look at your pocket change, because you never know when you might stumble upon a rare 1979 quarter worth $70,000. On Top 5, we're uncovering the story behind one of the most fascinating coins in U.S. history, the 1980 quarter dollar. While quarters are often seen as just another form of everyday currency, the 1980 quarter has some intriguing details and hidden value that make it worth exploring, especially for those of us who appreciate the beauty and significance of U.S. coinage. To understand the value of the 1980 quarter, we first need to appreciate the historical context in which it was minted. The year 1980 was a time of great economic change in the United States. The country was in the midst of the late 20th century economic turbulence, experiencing a combination of high inflation and rising unemployment. The early 1980s also marked a turning point in American politics, with President Ronald Reagan beginning his first term in office. In the world of coinage, the 1980 quarter was part of the Washington Quarter Series, a series that had been in circulation since 1932. Designed by John Flanagan to commemorate George Washington's 200th birthday, this series features the timeless profile of the first president of the United States. The Washington Quarter has undergone minimal changes over the years, but the designs that have been produced are an enduring testament to the spirit of America. The 1980 quarter itself showcases the now familiar design. On the obverse, we see the famous image of George Washington, facing left, his likeness captured in stunning detail. Above his profile is the word Liberty, along with the date 1980 below. This inscription is accompanied by the motto, "In God We Trust," which serves as a reminder of the nation's founding principles. The image of Washington has always been one of the most iconic designs in American coinage, symbolizing leadership, integrity, and the ideals upon which the nation was built. On the reverse side of the 1980 quarter, we find the eagle design. a symbol that has adorned American currency since the nation's earliest days. The eagle is depicted in flight, holding an olive branch in one talon, symbolizing peace, and arrows in the other, representing strength and readiness to defend the country. Surrounding the eagle are the words United States of America and E pluribus unum, a phrase that translates to out of many one, a powerful reminder of the unity of the American people. What makes the 1980 quarter particularly interesting is not just its design, but also the story behind its production. During this period, the U.S. Mint was faced with a significant challenge. The need for quarters, along with other denominations, was immense as the country's population and economy continued to grow. To meet the demand for coins, the Mint relied on several locations to produce the quarters: the Philadelphia Mint, the Denver Mint, and the San Francisco Mint. One aspect of the 1980 quarter that sets it apart from earlier years is the continued shift toward modern minting techniques. By the late 1970s, the U.S. Mint had introduced technological advancements that allowed for faster and more efficient coin production. However, these changes also meant that quality control became even more important. This is where certain quirks in the minting process would come into play. Some 1980 quarters display slight errors, such as doubled die strikes or misaligned designs, which have become valuable to collectors. The presence of these minting errors is one of the reasons why the 1980 quarter is a popular coin among collectors. As with many collectible coins, a coin that has been struck with a rare error or is in particularly good condition can increase in value. In fact, a standard 1980 quarter is worth only 25 cents in circulation. However, if you're lucky enough to find one in excellent condition, or if you happen upon a rare minting error, it can be worth significantly more. In particular, some 1980 quarters have been found with a variety of minting errors, including double die coins. A double die is a result of the coin being struck multiple times, which causes some of the design elements to appear slightly off-center or doubled. This error is rare, and it is a highly prized find for coin collectors, making the 1980 quarter even more desirable. Aside from minting errors, collectors are also drawn to the overall condition of the coin. A 1980 quarter that has been well preserved, especially one that has never circulated, can command much higher prices than a coin that has been heavily worn. Uncirculated or near uncirculated coins can fetch impressive sums, depending on their quality. Another factor to consider when evaluating the value of a 1980 quarter is the mint mark. The mint mark, which identifies the location where the coin was minted, can have a significant impact on the coin's value. Quarters minted at the Philadelphia Mint typically do not have a mint mark, while those produced in Denver are marked with a D, and those struck in San Francisco for proof sets are marked with an S. The rarity and desirability of a particular mint mark can make a difference in the value of the coin. Proof coins are also part of the equation when it comes to understanding the value of the 1980 quarter. Proof coins are specially struck coins that are made for collectors and have a polished, mirror-like finish. They are not intended for circulation, which means they often have a higher level of detail and are much more appealing to collectors. If you find a 1980 proof quarter, especially one that has been well preserved in its original packaging, it can be worth more than a standard quarter. So, how much is a 1980 quarter worth? The answer depends on several factors, including its condition, any minting errors, and whether it's a proof or regular circulation coin. In general, the value of an average 1980 quarter is not much more than face value. However, if you're fortunate enough to find a rare variant, an error coin, or one in impeccable condition, the price can rise dramatically. Collectors have been known to pay as much as $65,000 for a particularly rare and well-preserved 1980 quarter. That's right, $65,000 for a single coin, making it a highly coveted item in the world of numismatics. Whether you're a dedicated coin collector or someone who just enjoys learning about the fascinating world of currency, the 1980 quarter is a coin that deserves your attention. With its unique minting history, iconic design, and the possibility of discovering a rare, high-value variant, this coin holds a special place in American numismatics. So next time you go through your spare change or visit a coin dealer, keep an eye out for the 1980 quarter. It just might be the treasure you've been looking for. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1980 quarter, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay up to date on all our future coin exploration videos. Happy collecting, and who knows, Your next coin could be worth more than you ever imagined.